Tuticorin is on the boil, but who is to blame? Unfortunately, there are no easy answers to this. The Human Rights Commission, people across the country, indeed across the world, have been outraged by that picture you see on your screen, and rightly so, because here was a team of snipers of the Tamil Nadu police who was sent in to take out people, to shoot at people. Of the 13 who have died so far, most of them have bullet injuries above their waist, which certainly goes against standard operating procedure, goes to show that the police shot directly at them. But there are two sides to this story, because there are people who need to answer if this violence was orchestrated, if it was engineered only to ensure that things go out of hand. Why was the police sent in by the E. Palanisamy government when they were completely unprepared and also outnumbered? There were policemen who were beaten to within an inch of their life, set upon by a mob. So I want to bring in my guest now, Manu Sundaram, spokesperson of the DMK, Muralidharan Shivlingam, supporter of the AIDMK government, and T.S. Sudhir, senior journalist, is joining us through Skype. I want to first ask you, Mr. Shivlingam, what were you doing for the last 100 days when this protest was taking place? Why did you let things reach such a pass?
Padmaja, what you need to understand, this was an incident which has taken back, it was, the police did not anticipate this. It's going to be
Don't say the police did not anticipate it, sir. The government did not anticipate it. Don't try and make the police a fall guy. They were the people you sent in to kill civilians.
There are reasons.
In the process, many of them almost got killed themselves. It is your incompetence that everyone pays for.
Yeah, the factory is shut, Padmaja. What you need to understand, the factory is not operational from April 10th onwards. Second thing, the second part of the construction, which was supposed to happen, which got shelved today in the High Court, was also not happening. So there was no reason for the police, even though they were alerted even by the same judge who gave the order today, that there is a possibility of the mob turning violent. So the cops thought a 144 will help them. But they didn't expect a crowd of something like 20-30,000 who were going to barge in and start throwing stones. Now, what you need to understand is there's a pattern to the whole scenario. Now, when we started with the IPL, there was a protest, and the fans who got beaten up, and when the police clamped them down, and there was some lathi charge, and they all got arrested. So, on the 20th, that is 3 days back, there was another protest for the Sri Lankan genocide. A section of
okay, are you saying that you followed standard operating procedure, that everything that needed to be done was done by the police before they opened fire? No, please do not give a monologue. Just tell us, was the SOP... No, please do not give your conspiracy theories. Just tell me, was the SOP followed?
The SOP followed or not, there is a IAS officer who also has the magisterial powers, and there is also a superintendent of police sitting next to each other in the collector's office. They have the powers to do what they like, depending on the situation.
No, they do not have the power to do what they like. T.S. Sudhir, this is outrageous for the AIADMK to say that these were circumstances that were out of our control, so the officials could do what they liked. T.S. Sudhir.
No, to take us this to use force or not.
Mr. Shivlingam, just a second. Mr. Muralidharan Shivlingam, AIDMK supporter, says there was a pattern to this violence, which is why the officers took a call to do, and I quote him, do what they like, which in the present case was opening fire.
Well, I don't know what Mr. Shivlingam is exactly talking about, but I know it for a fact that there were intelligence inputs from the Q branch of the Tamil Nadu police saying that there has been some kind of infiltration by radical elements, so they need to be careful. Judge M.S. Ramesh of the Madurai bench of the Madras High Court made it very clear from the pamphlets, it seems that there could be a law and order situation, and therefore section 144 has to be imposed. Keeping in view these two warnings, it is rather surprising that the Tuticorin district police took it rather lightly. If you have a crowd of 20,000 people and if you have less than 500 policemen to actually control the crowd, obviously you're going to have a situation on ground that is not going to be controlled. So obviously it is not about intelligence failure. The intelligence input was there. It was a failure to act on the intelligence input.
Would you care to explain that, Mr. Shivalingam?
Alarm.
The intelligence report was there. When the factory is shut and there was no action happening, the police, I think, misunderstood the
police
signal,
did not misunderstand.
There will
Stop
not be
trying
such
to blame the police. You sat on your hands.
No,
Let's just be absolutely clear about it. You sat on your hands.
Why would you say that? Why would you say that?
If a crowd of 20,000 is anticipated, why did you send in 500 policemen
Padmaja,
for them to be
100
killed?
days protest, why would it turn violent after the factory is shut? You need to ask the question. Ask the question. As Sudhir said, there were radical elements inside.
Oh, there were radical elements inside.
That's the point to catch.
Manu Sundaram, would you like to take that?
Yes, that's the point to catch. That was told by the judge.
And to be fair, this was no peaceful crowd. Was it deliberately turned violent?
This claim that the factory, the chief executive officer of the Sterlite plant, Padmaja, has come on record today to say that this is a process of scheduled maintenance. So the factory's closure was temporary, and I think everyone in Tuticorin and probably most of Tamil Nadu understood that. The people there were protesting on a larger issue, which is the continued contamination of their resources by the effluents coming from the factory, and they were also opposing the expansion of the Sterlite plant. Now, perhaps what is important to understand is that, if the factory was shut and the protests were continuing for 100 days, what was the response of the government? Why did they not reach out to the protesters? Why did they not come on, start like some sort of a move to assuage the fears of the protesters? That's one thing. And secondly, I don't buy the fact that they were completely caught unaware. The visuals I've seen yesterday and today show policemen armed with assault rifles. They had some sort of an idea that something big was going down, because otherwise I don't think the regular policemen turn up in plain clothes. These were the special forces, and three, they've turned up in with assault rifles. More importantly, I think what we are all missing here is the fact that in the last 2 days, 12 people have died, and there's been a huge, there's a loss of trust between the people and the police. See, the police are supposed to take care of the people, right? And ultimately, when the people stop trusting the police, it results in a very, very crazy, a very paranoid, very scary situation. So no government minister or chief minister has actually gone to Tuticorin today after having seen 10, 11 deaths yesterday, and after seeing those terrifying visuals on our screen. No minister of this government has gone to sort of reach out and rebuild the trust between the government, which includes the police, as well as the people there.
Who brought the license back to Vedanta in 2009?
Was this violence engineered? Manu Sundaram.
That is definitely for the investigation to find out. That is for the investigation to find out. But I think what I would start with is, look, with any such movement, the police and the government machinery are armed to find out what is going on, if there is an infusion of any radicalism like they claim to be. But let's remember, Padmaja, this is the same reason that they gave towards the end of the Marina protest. They said there was some sort of a radical they said,
no, but Manu, the images are self-explanatory.
Now,
I don't know if you have a TV, but sure, the government can lie, the government can plan, the government can spread propaganda. But a man being beaten on camera by about 7 other men, a policeman being beaten, that can't be propaganda. This is an image. It's there on camera, Manu. What explains it? Whether these people come with large pistols?
Not at all. The question is, though, I think
in 2009,
the law empowers our agencies to take action against people who turn against the police or the government machinery.
In Vedanta Group.
Mr. Shivalingam, what do you say?
See, in 2009, it was DMK who reopened the factory. 2013, it was Amma who shut down the factory. Now these points have to be, made to, they should be made to remember all this, because I think they have selective amnesia. And 2009 when they were in power, it was the center, it was their...
Here,
okay, I'm just halting for a second because I don't want to go into the whataboutery of you started the factory, we stopped the factory. My single point concern today is why did 13 people have to die? That is my only concern. T.S. Sudhir, do you find any merit in the argument that yes, the concern of people at Sterlite was legitimate, their 100-day protest was legitimate, but then someone overtook this entire movement for their own political interest. Someone wanted this violence to take place. Sudhir.
See, we do not know whether the radical elements had infiltrated the movement or not. We do not know. That is for the investigation to show. But when there is an intel input suggesting that there could be a law and order situation, it is a job of the district police to ensure that common man's life does not come to a standstill or get affected by violence. In the manner in which the police has acted and what has been shown in visuals that at least one person should die, what is there on the audio shows that the police were trigger happy. They were willing to shoot to kill. And that is the kind of death wish of the police is what is most objectionable. For the last so many years, the people in Tuticorin are dying a slow death, suffering from cancer, suffering from skin diseases, suffering from respiratory diseases. The governments of the day have not done much. Yes, the Jayalalitha government in 2013, as Mr. Shivalingam says, closed down the plant in March 2013. It opened in July 2013. Did anything change? So basically, for the people of Tuticorin, there is a trust deficit vis-a-vis the authorities. They do not believe the governments or the authorities of the day. They want the closure of the plant so that their life can go on better and not like the entire groundwater being contaminated. And now, luckily, the Madras High Court has shut down has stayed the expansion plan of the Sterlite plant. Otherwise, the people of Tuticorin really had no other way to go, because for the last 900 days that they have been protesting, nobody from the government has really reached out to them.
And why did they not reach out? That remains the key question. The question to the government, what made you sit on your hands for so long? The question for the opposition, who was behind insisting, who was behind ensuring that there was violence? What happened and why are we asking questions to both sides? Watch this report, because this sort of explains it. Watch this. These are images that have left the country shaken. Of a policeman in Tamil Nadu perched on top of a bus in Tuticorin. A sniper taking aim at people protesting against the Sterlite plant. Cold-blooded, almost like a hunter. Complete pandemonium, scores injured, more than a dozen killed. So what went wrong? It all started when a massive crowd started to march towards the collectorate. The people tried to stop it by putting up barricades. But this gathering was unstoppable. The crowd broke the barricades, chasing a retreating police. The police then set off tear gas shells, but the mob was unrelenting. Soon it was a free-for-all, with stones being pelted at the police. Then things got worse, with individual policemen being geared out and thrashed, some to within an inch of their life. As they cowered in fear, the situation had by now completely spiraled out of control. Some protesters then marched to the Sterlite residential quarters, the building set on fire, cars burnt. From there, the violence then snaked to the collector's office. The crowd started moving in, and that is when things reached a bloody climax. The police moved in, writing a black day in Tamil Nadu's history. With Shalini Lobo in Chennai and Akshay Anath in Tuticorin, Bureau Report, India Today. All right. So, Mr. Shivalingam, would you care to explain, if you had intelligence, you knew there was anger, even if you insist that there was infiltration of elements who wanted violence, why didn't you know? Why didn't you act?
There was a section 144 which was announced, Padmaja, but this kind of a mob violence, this is unless it's
Why do you keep harping on section 144? T.S. Sudhir is imposing section 144 enough?
That's to ensure the people are dispersed. No, not more than 4 people get together in a place. So that's how you protect the area. That area has been cordoned off.
Sudhir, the government supporter seems to think prohibitory orders are enough given the intelligence that they had. You agree?
No, that's what I'm trying to repeatedly say. The government did not expect such a protest when the factory is shut, when the matter is sub judice.
Well, then that's your problem. If you did not expect the protest, then you're extremely short-sighted, sir.
It is not happened anywhere across Tamil Nadu in the last 20-30 years.
Oh, so you wanted for something like this to first happen before realizing that there could be violent protests?
Yeah, but nobody will, go, this is you also see there's one video there, people are carrying an injured police officer to the hospital. That shows there's a good elements in that crowd. There were rogue elements in the crowd. So how do we differentiate this? And these rogue elements.
Well, that is why the party is in government. You learn how to differentiate the rogue elements and the good elements.
You cannot.
The genuine protesters from people who are there to incite violence. And that is why you have intelligence. And apparently you did have this intelligence.
How Kohli should play, how Dhoni should play. It's very easy. But the guy in the field knows what's the exact situation. If the collector and the superintendent of police have ordered shooting, they will have a very valid reason.
Okay, Manu Sundaram, there was no way out. This protest was hijacked. There were interests which were at play. The government did the best it could.
Well, you cannot defend any sort of violence, regardless of which side you are in. If some people had crossed the limits, then they must be taken to task as well, according to law. But, the scariest visuals are those where policemen take commando positions and arm themselves with assault rifles. And I think that has left an indelible mark with us. But, I think I have very simple questions. Why has the Prime Minister not spoken out on this issue for 48 hours later? Why has the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu not visited Tuticorin to sort of build goodwill there? And 3, who gave these shooting orders, and why wasn't the basic police manual protocol followed? Now, there are no answers coming from the government. I don't expect the supporters to explain this position because the government themselves don't care. So I don't understand, I don't see why a supporter of the government would even venture to give an answer. But, there is absolute breakdown of goodwill in Tuticorin. We are trying to be there so that there is some goodwill rebuilt there and ensure that people have access to medical help, both policemen who are injured as well as protesters. And the people who've lost family members, they need to be consoled, and that's not happened from the government side either.
What explains your inaction and your apathy, many would say now? Muralidharan Shivlingam, last word to you.
I would like to, tell him one thing. By going there and making statements, like one statement made by Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, the Tamil Nadu people are not, listening to RSS, so they resorted to shooting. And what Mr. Stalin said, this is barbaric, this is inhuman, this is all this. These leaders, if they stay away and let some peace prevail in that place, by doing this, these leaders are being highly irresponsible and they are fueling the protest more. You go to a house where there's a death and you start talking to the people, and 10 leaders go land up in their house. How will that family feel? They will be provoked more to do more nonsense. People should stay away from Tuticorin. Let some peace prevail.
Well, it's commendable that you care about the feelings of this
should be shut down. That's the only way you can bring in peace.
That they have already lost someone at the hands of your police firing, Mr. Shivlingam. Very commendable. But maybe if you hadn't let all of this fester for 100 days and then some, things wouldn't have come to such a pass. But was there also politics? There was also politics behind the violence that took place, and who was responsible? That inquiry and its outcome is equally important to watch, because if someone provoked the violence, they equally have blood on their hands. For the time being, thank you all, gentlemen and viewers, for joining us on the People's Court. Our thoughts with the family of the 13 bereaved.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you would love to.